All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm Adam Berezin from MS Dynamics World, and thanks for joining us for today's session, Office 365, Dynamics CRM Online in the Cloud. What's in it for me? Our presenter is Alex Fagundes, who's the CIO at PowerObjects. We are very excited to have him here with us today. So before we get started, I'd like to mention that you can feel free to ask Alex questions anytime during the session through the Q&A box on the right side of the screen. Alex will try to answer all of them either during or most likely at the end of the event. So without further delay, I'd like to turn it over to Alex Fagundes.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Alex Fagundes with PowerObjects. And so a bit about PowerObjects, a bit about myself. So PowerObjects, we're now part of HCL, a much bigger global service provider company with 100,000 employees. Now, we're still a division, and all we do is CRM and Office 365. So our headquarters is in Minneapolis. We have about 300 folks dedicated to Microsoft CRM. A lot of add-ons, a lot of services around CRM. And we're actually the first cloud service provider for Office 365 and CRM, which means we can assist clients with licensing, services, etc. So if you're looking at Office 365, keep in mind, ask us anything related to licenses, etc. And a bit about myself. I've been here for 10 years. So I've been doing CRM for 10 years. Began playing with Office 365 at its launch. In fact, even before it went live. I'm also a CRM MVP. I've been an MVP for the past 5 years. And my role is typically around large integrations, anything complex, anything involving cloud strategy, architecture, and planning. So around Azure, CRM, Office 365. And as we're going along, go ahead and ask questions. Some questions I may answer right away, others I'll save for the end. You guys should see a little QA near the side of the presentation. So questions for the folks here, just so I can kind of gauge who I'm speaking with. So 3 questions. Do you currently have Office 365? And do you currently have one of these on premises, Exchange, Link, or CRM? And then do you currently use Microsoft CRM? So please take a couple seconds and go ahead and answer the 3 questions. We give folks about 20, 30 seconds. And then depending on how much time we have, near the end, I can jump into a live demo and show some of the things we discussed and we presented over PowerPoint.
Alex, would you like me to read the results of the poll questions?
Sure. Perfect.
Okay. All right. So 65% of people said that they currently have Office 365. 70% of the people said that they currently use Microsoft CRM. And then in terms of which the people currently use on-premise, 20% said Exchange, 30% said CRM, and 15% said they use all 3, Exchange, Link, and CRM.
All right, perfect. So we're going to have stuff for everybody on the call. A lot of info. So to begin with, the world has changed. In fact, our perceptions around cloud have changed. What is the cloud has changed. And it has changed pretty dramatically over the last couple of years. 3 years ago, we used to have a different type of chat with our prospects. Most would go on premises. The few that would go online had worries about security, had worries about functionality. Hey, am I getting everything in the cloud as I'm getting on premises? As a good example, CRM 4. CRM 4.0 was the first CRM that Microsoft had in their cloud. Now, CRM 4.0 is roughly the same software as on-premises, but you could do more with it on-premises. On-premises, I could run custom code. Online, I could not in CRM 4. So CRM 4, first cloud app, had a number of limitations online. Fast forward to CRM 2016, the current release. It's now flipped. we now have quite a bit more functionality in the cloud than on-premises. And that gap is only accelerating. What we are seeing is, even if it's the same base software system, the same SharePoint, the same link, the same CRM, online I have a bigger feature set. I have a more robust feature set. I have features that hit online, the cloud first. And the whole discussion about security has also changed completely, 180. Now, instead of discussing, hey, is the cloud as secure as on-premises? It's flipped. We have folks that have on-premises Exchange, on-premises CRM, or even VMs, their VM strategy, that choose to go online because of security. Because Microsoft, the big guys, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, these guys have their own data center that have a whole department around security, have more certifications, accreditation that fits in a screen, are going to be more secure than most other data centers. Not everybody, and I don't mean to rule out your, a small data center like our own. We actually still have our own data center. But there's a really good chance that security is better in the big cloud. It's a little bit an analogy that I use quite a bit, like electricity. When electricity was first invented, there was no grid. If you wanted electricity, you either ran your own generators, your own producing facilities, or you went with a little guy. There was a bunch of little folks doing electricity until the grid came along. And then at some point you had both. You had the grid plus the small electricity generating companies. And then all of a sudden you pretty much have the grid. We're slowly heading to that point. And we're beginning to see that with email exchange. We're seeing less and less companies running Exchange local, running an email system local. And the ones that do are looking at the cloud, are looking to move all that to the cloud. So it's a change in the world. So what's in it for you? Why should you care about Office 365, CRM, the cloud? Kind of boils down to three things. One is more functionality. By having more of these apps in the cloud, you're going to get more out-of-the-box integration. So if you have CRM on-prem and, let's say, Exchange Online, yeah, you can still integrate, but you're going to get more functionality if both are online. The same thing with most of the other software packages. The more you have in the cloud, the more out-of-the-box integrations. And then the more functionality. And we see that with SharePoint, CRM, etc. It's cheaper. No matter how we run the numbers, it's going to be cheaper if via Microsoft wrote the software via economy of scales, they own the data center. The long run will be cheaper by going to the cloud. And then more secure. And security, we can literally spend a whole afternoon talking about security. Why are things more secure in the cloud than in somebody else's data center or your own data center? So, a bit more about the cloud. Things are changing. And specifically around Microsoft, the concept of updates, the big upgrades. In the cloud, we literally have monthly updates. The vast majority behind the scenes, you won't even notice. And then the bigger upgrades, you still have control. So an IT department can still control when we roll out a new version of CRM. But it's much faster, much easier. It's via typically a control panel. Actually, we have one question here. Yeah, it looks like my polling questions, I was missing something in there. And the path is you're still going to have on-premises software. So the on-prem stuff will still be around. The release cycle is every 2 or 3 years. But within my lifetime, I can see bigger things being released only in the cloud and new versions only being released in the cloud. I wouldn't be surprised if 10 years from now, or maybe even 5, Exchange on-prem is not around, or Exchange on-prem takes a minimum of 100,000 seats, etc. So the world's definitely heading towards the cloud. A question that I get asked quite a bit out of our new clients: how many are going to CRM Online or Office 365 versus on-prem? So net new clients, 95% of our new CRM customers are online. The other 5% choose on-prem for various reasons. Either they already have a big data center, they are bank, and via the legalese, they still can't go online, etc. But the vast majority are going online. So a bit about Microsoft's cloud. What is Azure? What is Office 365? What is CRM? Is all of this a cloud? So this is my only slide on Azure. Again, Azure, we can spend a whole day talking about Azure. Azure is typically two things. It is infrastructure as a service and platform as a service, while Office 365 are the applications. It's a bit of a gray area, but infrastructure as a service, what is that? So infrastructure as a service means in Azure, in a Microsoft data center, that I get to pick the location. Is it in Iowa? Is it in Singapore? Is it in Brazil? So I can literally say, yep, I want these infrastructure pieces, a network, a VPN line, a VM, a chunk of storage in Iowa or the East Coast or Brazil. So then Microsoft runs this infrastructure for me. I'm still responsible for the OS and higher. So the client still has to patch, install the app, maintain that. But the infrastructure is now Azure. If I need a bigger VM, it's a little slider to get more procs or more RAM. If I need more storage, it's just a bigger Azure blob or more disks. All point and click via control panel or PowerShell. Platform as a service is where then Microsoft manages the OS, manages the middle tier, the runtime of a platform app such as SQL Server, IIS. We ourselves, so we run our own SQL Server. We also have Azure SQL. So it's an enterprise version of SQL Server that I paid by however much resources I need, with the little one being $7 a month. So a lot of our little databases are in Azure, and we're paying $7 a month for about a gig of storage. I mean, quite a bit of storage, but with limited resources. If something goes production, or let's say our Azure cloud in Europe suddenly gets a bigger load, it is one slider to give them more power. And then software as a service, where Microsoft manages the whole application from top to bottom. And that's mostly Office 365. Office 365 are the Office applications. Word, Excel, Visio, now these are the on-prem applications. And it's also Exchange, SharePoint, OneDrive, OneNote, Lync or Skype. Lync has been renamed to Skype for Business. And periodically new stuff like Office 365 videos that came up about a year ago. We actually have something internal that we're now looking to use that. And it's, again, all point and click. And then Microsoft CRM, and I put Microsoft CRM in its own line because it used to be a separate app, but a couple years back it has been moved into Office 365. So Microsoft Dynamics CRM is now an application in Office 365. And all these apps I can subscribe on a per user per month. All literally point and click if I need 5 more users of Visio or 5 more users of CRM. And the question I still get quite a bit, does CRM run in Azure? And the answer is no. A CRM uses parts of Azure, but the CRM database has its own group that manages its own clusters. It's in the same data center. So the data center, the Microsoft data center, that's the thing that's common among Azure, Office 365, and CRM. Same data center, owned, operated by Microsoft. And again, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and type them in there. So why Office 365? What is in Office 365? Who is it for? So who is it for? It's, in a way, for everybody. They're plans for the home user. And my neighbors literally use Office 365. They used to use Google Mail. They kind of got scared with some of the very targeted ad. They logged in one day, and I can't remember exactly which ad. The next thing, the guy was knocking on my door saying, "Hey, Google, why am I getting ads related to whatever type of emails I'm getting?" And not to say no, other folks do that, but with Google emails, kind of very apparent. So they switched, and they now have Office 365. That includes their Office suite, the on-prem, plus hosted Exchange. So Office 365 can also scale for your mid-size client all the way up to your global corporation with hundreds of thousands of users. one of our clients has literally over 100,000 users using Office 365. Exchange, the Office suites, and now Link. And the plan varies. There are all kinds of plans, not only varies, but periodically switches, sometimes more often than we would like. And there are also bundles. So we have seen clients that started off with an E3 bundle, and then at some point it became cheaper for them to go to an E5. Or started off with an E1, the one at CRM, now it makes more sense to get an E3 bundled with CRM, where CRM's cheaper. And not only the plans changing, but the capabilities keeps changing. A good example is OneDrive for Business. On a per-user basis, we now have 1 terabyte of storage, almost unlimited. So I use OneDrive for Business. All my files are in my OneDrive. They are local. They sync with Microsoft. They sync to my home PC, which I often use for work. It's encrypted in Microsoft. Both of my PCs are encrypted. And I have up to 1 terabyte of storage, which means I'm putting everything in my OneDrive for Business. My pictures, my work files, etc. So what are my top 6 reasons for going to Office 365? And again, these are chats we typically have with a number of clients, but the number one is to stay current. There's no big SharePoint upgrade project. There's no big Exchange upgrade project. You won't get behind. And you won't get behind in both the software running your app and your on-prem Office suites. And the reason why this is my number one, I used to run an Exchange group. I'll be part of a Fortune 500 company running Exchange. And upgrades were very, very painful. This is 10 years ago. Upgrades were always, very tiny, involved a lot of folks, a lot of time. And I left a decade ago. This company is now in Office 365. Their Exchange guys are still there. Many now wear dual hats, since the Exchange administration is now much easier. They still use PowerShell, but they don't have to worry about upgrades. They don't have to worry about the DR strategy, etc. Two, it just runs. I can't remember the last time my email was down since we've moved to Office 365. And if there are glitches, it's pretty good. They're pretty good of making it transparent via the health dashboard. That is broken down by application, by type. And depending on the app, and if something is occurring, things are slow or something's down, you get updates in this dashboard literally every 15 minutes. So every 15 minutes, you might go in, click on it, and actually see a technical explanation of what they found or what is happening behind the scenes. So super reliable. Exchange mailboxes now have a limit of 50 gigs. My number 3 reason is OneDrive for Business. I think this had a bit of a rough start where when OneDrive was first launched, the OneDrive for Business had kind of one sync mechanism. The OneDrive Personal, formerly known as SkyDrive, had a different type of sync. And the business OneDrive was a little clunky. That has been fixed. All of our employees now use OneDrive for Business. It's an instant backup strategy. So if my laptop were to fry, well, in my case, I would actually use my home PC. Since as soon as I save a file on my Surface, goes to the OneDrive cloud, and it's synchronized on my home PC. So I actually have 2 laptops that are literally in sync. I can work on a presentation at work, save, close my Surface, leave my Surface here at work, go home, continue the presentation on my home PC. So OneDrive for Business, I think, is super neat. I think they finally got the glitches out of it. And it's my 3rd reason for Office 365. Number 4, Skype for Business, or formerly known as Link. I think it's a great little app. And the one thing a lot of folks don't know about it is that your chats, your communications back and forth are encrypted. You literally have a client certificate. So if I'm IMing with my colleague, that is encrypted. Unlike MSN Messenger, unlike AOL Chat, etc. So you get a lot of the enterprise level features, even if you're a 5-user shop. And now with Skype for Business, we have actually a new capability where Skype can be your full-blown PBX. You can literally get a phone number. People can leave voice messages to you, and your phone can be Skype. Number 5 is compliant and security. Microsoft has a barrage of accreditations, barrage of certifications, everything from FERPA to the SSA 16, EU model clauses. So we have a lot of global companies that are okay going to Office 365, CRM Online because of the EU model clauses. Auditing, a lot of capabilities related to auditing, and two-factor authentication. In the past, two-factor authentication may have been a big project for your on-prem, only large clients could afford. Now it's a couple clicks away. In fact, your Microsoft account supports two-factor authentication, free out of the box. And number 6, single sign-on. Single sign-on used to be a little bit harder to set up. You needed ADFS installed on premises. You can now do that very easily with a little piece of software called the Azure AD Connect. Quick to set up, and that allows single sign-on. So folks can log in to Office 365, to anything in Office 365, using their on-prem credentials. Any questions so far? And I'll pause just for a little bit, see what we have in there.
Looks like we do have one that just came in. Someone's asking, has Microsoft fixed the access to OneDrive for business and SharePoint sites through File Explorer yet for those who don't need nor want to actually sync all the files? They're saying that the map drives kept breaking and it's a nuisance to save things over.
Yeah, correct. So that was a big nuisance. So there was an update. I can't remember if it was released 2 months ago or 3 months ago. I believe that it's fixed. And correct. Yep, a lot of our clients would complain. We do Tier 1 support for Office 365, those that use PowerObjects as their cloud service provider. So a lot of these break fixes, we are aware of those items. And we typically chat around these common issues in my weekly meeting with the support team. Yep, that is something we saw a lot of. Any other questions? There's one other one about synchronizing the whole library or synchronizing only certain folders. That is coming. It is in a beta version. I'm not sure if they released the full version yet or not. But it is available in a beta version for OneDrive for Business. Right? Oh, that looks a little ugly. The slide is supposed to paint stuff. So then the last thing about Office 365 is evolving, and it's evolving very, very fast with new apps, with updates behind the scenes that most folks may not even notice, such as encryption at rest. If you have data in your OneDrive, if you have data in Office 365, that data is encrypted at rest. It's also encrypted when it goes from Microsoft Data Center to Microsoft Data Center, even though Microsoft owns the fiber. So they're taking security, enterprise-level security to the next layer, to the next level, and anybody that has, from the home user to the small, mid-sized company, gets to use that. And new apps, everything from the last one I started playing with is the Office 365 videos. It's actually pretty neat. You can upload videos. Office 365 will kind of reformat the video so it can be played pretty well with any type of device, mobile device, and you literally watch it. The videos are stored online, and you can pause, set up channels, etc. Kind of neat. You only pay for the storage, which is very inexpensive. So Office 365, apps that you should consider using and have a new integration with Microsoft CRM. These are the top 6. And again, I only had an hour where I could literally spend a whole day talking about each one of these. So jumping right in, the first one, Skype. And Skype or Link has changed a lot. We now have a lot more capabilities in the cloud in Office 365. You can use Skype for Business simply for PC-to-PC IMing, share desktops, share files. But now we have voice capabilities. And we have voice capabilities both for meetings. So I can do a Skype meeting, and folks can call in with a physical phone number. And then I can also have a physical POTS phone number associated with my Skype, which means it can be my phone system. And we're seeing more and more companies use Skype and ditch their legacy phone system. Ditch Vonage or ditch whatever, Cisco or Avaya. They have various plans. Some plans include all national phone calls. Other plans include national and international. We actually have one client that just switched to that. They do a lot of international calling. And they were floored at what their bill is going to be. Once we added up, the licenses, it's all fixed per user per month. And they chose the license with unlimited international calling. These guys are a distributor. It's a 25-shop distributor. And they were floored at what they were paying now with their current phone system and switching over to Skype. So especially for the folks that have an older phone system, they have thought about upgrading, that might be in the list. Take a look at Skype. You can still use physical phones. They are physical phones specifically made for Skype/Link. You don't have to use the soft phone if you don't like. The licenses, again, the different bundles, different prices, but folks that want more of the Skype phone capability will need the E5 Cal. And as you're looking at the licenses, especially if you're a new Office 365, keep it in mind. Will help you navigate through the barrage of license options. It's including with bundles. So if you have, let's say, CRM in Office 365 and are now looking to move Exchange there, you may be better off with a bundle since your costs for the CRM Cal can drop with a bundle. So keep it in mind if you're looking to add any type of Office 365 service or moving there. So number two, OneDrive for Business is probably my favorite now. I used to not like OneDrive for Business. We had this other clunky backup software system here at PowerObjects. We now only do OneDrive for Business. That's everybody's default backup mechanism. Everybody saves to OneDrive for Business. It syncs to the cloud. It's nice and secure. And what's really neat to do is the phone capabilities. How it's actually very easy to use OneDrive for Business in your phone. Not only your Windows phone, but your iPhone or Android. Number three, OneNote. OneNote's one of those apps that we looked at. It's similar to Evernote. I don't really see a big benefit. But internally, as we begin using OneNote, it is pretty powerful. Not only for the the individual, but especially for its sharing capabilities. Meaning our OneNote, so we use OneNote in, let's say, our R&D team, 15 individuals doing everything in OneNote. It's a shared OneNote. We all open up the same OneNote, which means I can have OneNote up. All of a sudden, I see text changing, and I see the initials of whoever's modifying. It's live, and we can all modify and add to the same OneNote. It also synchronizes with my laptop. So not only are we all modifying the same OneNote, but it's synchronizing offline with its multi-added capabilities. Really neat. So folks that do any type of collaboration around that you may have, a bunch of Word documents now, take a look at OneNote. Over the last year, actually last year and a half, the supportability across devices, it's next to none. It works across any device. From an iPhone, Windows Phone, iPad, Android, same UI, same look and feel. So Microsoft has really changed from being very only Microsoft-centric to will support anything. And we're seeing that across the board. So number four, Office 365 groups. This is an interesting one. And this overlaps a lot of other functionality that Microsoft has. So Microsoft has SharePoint discussions or SharePoint. Microsoft has Yammer. We use Yammer internally. And now we have Office 365 groups, which is a little bit of what Yammer is, meaning I can chat, have an internal conversation. I can email an email address, and it gets posted to my chat. I have this concept of membership. A group can be public or private. And I have this shared calendar in this Office 365 group. It's made for collaboration, and it's made for the companies that might have a maybe a long-running opportunity, and you're always collaborating around the opportunity. Or it might be a chemical company. In fact, we have one of our clients now. It's a chemical company. They are using Office 365 groups to collaborate on new projects. So they have a project entity. Whenever there's a new project created, they create an Office 365 group. So now folks can add files. Folks can chat about the project. Hey, we need more ammonium nitrate for blah. And it's this kind of lively discussion, but it's saved there perpetually. Somebody later on can go and review. Hey, how did you come up with that decision? It's kind of neat. It's not applicable to every company, but for the ones that it is, it can be a really, really good fit. Number 5, Power BI. And I'm hoping most folks have heard of Power BI, have seen a presentation here and there about Power BI. But Power BI has come a long way. Power BI, if you like Excel, or if you know how to create a chart from Excel, a pivot table, how to analyze data with Excel, you can create really nice and fancy dashboards and publish them. So Power BI allows anybody who knows Excel or can use Excel to analyze data and analyze any type of data and analyze data that might be behind a corporate firewall. So Power BI actually supports synchronizing on-prem data to Power BI and then analyzing the on-prem data along with CRM data, along with clients data, whatever the data might be. And it doesn't take a mathematician, doesn't take somebody that goes through weeks training to learn blah. It's Excel. It's a very user-friendly UI. And there's a broad of new features being added to Power BI literally every couple months. And Power BI, again, the UI can be displayed in any browser, mobile devices, etc. And the last one, SharePoint. I think SharePoint still sometimes underutilized when it comes to document library, especially in the integration with CRM. So SharePoint can do a bunch of stuff, can be your intranet, etc., has a bunch of web parts. But the one, at least here internally, we use quite a bit is the document library. The fact that once a file is in a document library, I'll never lose changes. I have perpetual versioning. And there's very little. Each time there's a new version, I only store the delta behind the scenes. So it doesn't take up a lot of room to store many, many different versions. And I can always go back and find out who modified a file and when, and then go back to previous version. So we'll never lose anything. If you're using the old legacy file share on a Windows box, definitely look at SharePoint, look into ditching that legacy file share. All right, let's go through some of the questions here. Looks like there are a couple. So do you know the per minute cost that's in addition to the calling? So with Skype for Business, you have actually two options, actually 3 options. You can get Skype for Business and then pay per minute, and I'm not sure what the costs are. You have the second option where you get unlimited domestic calling. It's like $15 a month per user. Most of our clients do that. In fact, I don't think anyone is paying the per user per minute. Simply when you add up, see how much you call the national plan, it makes sense. And if you call international, again, an additional $10 or $15 a month, there's also a plan for unlimited international calling. Doesn't take many phone calls to make the unlimited international calling be worthwhile. The client I spoke with a while back, our distributor client, when they added up how much they were paying for national and international calling, it was something like $25,000 a month, and their Skype bill came to $1,500 a month. So it's a tenfold decrease. Plus, they're now mobile. Now the guy at home can make phone calls from the company phone number, etc. And kind of moving up. Do you know how Office 365 files, when you get an error saying the file is too large? So there is a limit in Office 365, so synchronizing files. They are bumping up the limits. And I think right now it's about 100 megs. I could be wrong on that. And this is a fixed limit though. So once you hit that limit, there's no way to adjust and go higher. Not sure why they have that. There's a lot of some of the internal discussions. It's they are looking to bump that up. So far they haven't. And that is it. All right. So integrations with Office 365 with CRM. Actually, this is a typo. It should be integrations with CRM. So CRM has changed quite a bit. CRM 2011, we had X integrations with Office 365 apps. CRM 2016, we have XY. We have a number of additional integrations. It's going to increase. That rate's getting faster and faster. So starting with Skype, or Link, if you still call it Link, but out of the box, between CRM and Skype, I can not only see if a user's present, what is their status? Are they available? Are they busy? And I can pick and choose where I enable that in CRM. And then I can click to dial. I can literally hover over an individual, single click to dial a phone number, or single click to chat. The item that's not out of the box is screen pops. So if you're receiving a phone call, you want, based on an inbound phone number, to search your CRM and display the leader, the contact. That is not available yet out of the box, but there are a number of third-party components like our Power Phone. So OneDrive for Business. So we are a big OneDrive shop here. At least I love my little OneDrive. I don't know how life would be without OneDrive. We now have integration between Microsoft CRM and document storage and OneDrive for Business, which means the folks that use CRM, the folks that use OneDrive, you can now have your documents still stored in OneDrive, but show up in CRM. Show up in CRM related to that account, opportunity, or contacts. It's actually very easy to enable that. One click. You got to set up your SharePoint integration. Set up, yep, I approve the OneDrive for Business integration. Specify kind of a root folder name. And then it's live. And then in CRM, you literally show the documents related to the account from multiple sources. Documents that may be in SharePoint, may be in an Office 365 group, and it might be in a OneDrive for Business. And then via views, I can look at only SharePoint documents, or only OneDrive documents, or only documents shared with me, all from CRM. So it makes that user experience of looking at files much better than before. I mean, literally night and day compared to a couple of years ago, where somebody would have to check CRM, check OneDrive, check SharePoint. Now it's the same location. Yep, ensuring that you can actually see the full path here, the per user folder structure. So in this case, I'm looking at an account, ABC Company, and I can see files that are stored directly in SharePoint for that account, and then files that are stored in TADS, personal OneDrive for Business folders, and then shared with me in this case. And these documents are visible not only from the web UI, but from the mobile app. And a mobile app not only in an iPad, a Windows Surface, but a mobile app in a phone. Which means I'm still one of the last few Microsoft Windows Phone users, but whether I have my Windows Phone or somebody else here at the company using an iPhone, we can log in to Microsoft CRM using a mobile app, go into an account, click on Documents. The UI will look very similar. In fact, it's the same. It's the UI formatted for the different devices, but it's the same UI. And I can access the documents. So here's a screenshot showing the docs from CRM in a tablet and a phone. One click away, whether the document's in OneDrive or SharePoint. Yeah, this has come, again, a long way since a year ago. And in Office 365 groups, again, it's something new. Depending on the company, may be a great fit or might not be a fit. We now have integration between Microsoft CRM and Office 365 groups. The advantage that allows a CRM user, so let's say an opportunity or a project or an account, to collaborate within the company with a non-CRM user. So our client, the one that's a chemical company, they have, I don't know, a couple thousand CRM users, but they have about 100,000 non-CRM users. They are using Office 365 groups specifically for that reason. They can go into a project, create a new group. The CRM users can look at the files, can look at the back and forth chats, and non-CRM users can do the same. Non-CRM users can email things there. They can look at documents. They can update the same doc. So now we're not looking for, hey, who has a new version? This version looks old. Who made the last change? It's all in the same location. And the UI is very elegant. So here's what it looks like in CRM. I can quickly see the calendar for the group. I can see the back and forth conversation. Now this conversation, somebody can log into CRM and start chatting, or via email. So a user can subscribe to a group and receive that digest or messages as they're being posted. And then you can also reply back via email, which means you may still have a back and forth email communication, but now it's tied to that Office 365 group, and it's visible in CRM or in Office 365 going directly to the group, along with the files, along with who are members. If you want to know more about Office 365 groups and CRM, we do have a 1-hour webinar that focuses specifically on the integration and a little bit of best practices. So the CRM web app. So CRM and Exchange has had an integration for a while. Most folks use the Outlook CRM client. It has been around for a while. It's getting better, but still not 100% stable. We now have the CRM web app that is a very lightweight client. It's super robust. Mine actually has never crashed. And it's available both in OWA and the Outlook client, which means if it's a user on the go, you can log into OWA, the Outlook Web Access, and track an email in CRM, and create a contact if it's a new contact, all from that web UI. And it looks the same whether you're using OWA or the Outlook clients. It's pretty neat. We're beginning to see more features added to the CRM web app. Create records on the fly with one click, much like the Outlook CRM client, and track an email related to an existing account, contacts, or create one on the fly. Again, we're seeing that overlap between the CRM web app and the Outlook CRM clients. And then I did include in the deck a little comparison. We get, as soon as we start talking about the CRM web app, one of the first questions we get, hey, how does it compare with the Outlook CRM client? Which one should I use? So it's a little cheat sheet we created with the capabilities for the CRM web app and the CRM for Outlook clients. You do have to be online for this. You do need Exchange Online for the CRM app. And I won't go over it line by line. You guys, we will be sharing the deck later on. And then the last new feature, that's kind of a neat little feature that Microsoft finally released that. And it's specifically to CRM 2016. But it's, and the slides, I have about 6 screens that are supposed to paint in order, but they didn't. But it allows us to create a Word template or an Excel template. Specify how the merging will happen. So let's say I can create a Word template from accounts using this view with these fields, create my template, upload it back in CRM. Now I can do a one-click document generation. And it's literally one click for the merge to happen. The merge happens server-side. So I can create an account overview template. I can create an invoice template, an opportunity overview template, all in Word or Excel. Upload it to CRM. A user can generate that from the web UI, from the mobile clients. I can be on a phone and literally one click away generate a document from CRM. Now attach it to an email, send it off. Very powerful feature. I think they did a really good job doing this. And if you want more info or step-by-step, 2 blogs in here on how to create these. Power BI. Power BI now in CRM 2016, we can embed a Power BI dashboard in CRM. And the process is pretty easy. There's a first screenshot, which is not visible here, but is you got to enable that behind the scenes. So enable that in settings administration, enable Power BI web parts for CRM. I forgot exact what they call it. At that point, you can create your nice looking dashboards in Power BI, and then in a CRM dashboard, embed that, all point and click. So that allows me to easily create a map. Show me a map with my top accounts. Display that in a CRM dashboard. Show me a visible pie chart with opportunities for the close in the last 30 days, whatever that might be. But in a way, it's easier and more capable than an out-of-the-box CRM dashboard. And these are live. You can click on them and things move. It's pretty neat. If you like Power BI, I think we're going to be seeing a major shift in the next couple months on how folks create dashboards. Folks that have CRM Online and are okay using Power BI, they're going to be shifting towards that. And again, a 1-hour webinar on using Power BI. So my last slide. So why is CRM better in the cloud? And we get that questions probably on a monthly basis. And I picked my top 5 items. Number 1 being better disaster recovery. CRM Online has better disaster recovery than 99.9% of the existing on-prem systems. And I made up the stats. I don't know if it's 99.9 or 0.8, but it's better than a lot of on-premises systems. It's their DRs cross-country. So when you save a record in CRM Online, you're saving it to literally 2 SQL Server databases. And that's being replicated across country to 2 other SQL Server databases, which means in a case of a total disaster, a big earthquake in the West Coast, or a big hurricane that engulfs the East Coast that takes out a data center, within minutes, you can be up and running again. Very few companies have that type of DR capability. And there's a whole slide deck on CRM Online and DR, security, etc. Number 2, the quick fixes and updates. CRM Online will get fixes and updates much faster than CRM on-premises, often within days of something being discovered. An incompatibility with blah. Since Microsoft owns the back end, exactly how things are laid out, their testing is vastly automated. They can roll out a fix very, very quick. Number 3, we're now seeing more features that are only available in CRM Online. And that trend will keep going. A year from now, we'll probably have twice as many things that are only available in CRM Online. These are often things that use Azure, that uses other parts of Microsoft's cloud. The top one being the offline mobile clients. So the mobile client now has a full-blown offline capable client where you can create a sync profile. So hey, when I go offline, bring offline all my accounts modified during the last 30 days. Or bring offline all my accounts of type XYZ. That feature is only available CRM Online, not on premises. And then integration with Azure Search. Pretty soon a machine learning integration with your catalog for the suggestions. The new survey tool. There's a new survey tool available for CRM Online. We can create surveys and send to your customers or clients. Coming soon, a portal integration. Point and click with CRM Online. Number 4, much easier upgrades. So along with that comes not being frozen in time. We still have a number of clients that are frozen in time, that are CRM 4 and super scared to upgrade, that are CRM 2011, and since they're already behind, they now, again, are scared to upgrade, or don't have the resources in-house to create the side-by-side environments to upgrade. With CRM Online, it's point and click. It's, you still got to test, but you can schedule your QA upgrade, test, everything comes along, schedule your production upgrade. The admin functionality, you still got to do some administration, but instead of being very, a heavy admin in an on-prem system, where it takes, knowing SQL Server, additional hardware, in an online world, it is point and click. Point and click to schedule upgrades. Point and click to create a new QA organization. Point and click to rename a QA organization. Point and click to get more storage. Point and click to install Microsoft solutions, such as the new, such as the Office groups. Let's say you want to try out the new Office group integrations with Microsoft CRM. Point and click to install that solution file. And we're going to be seeing more and more of that. So open up the questions. Looks like we have a couple here. Do you want to read off the questions? My screen's kind of
sure.
small.
Yeah. I know you answered a bunch of these, so I just want to make sure that I ask read questions that you haven't already answered. All right. Okay. Here's one. Can you have it try to call Skype users when you have that information saved, i.e. try to call Skype users with Skype for Business when it's in the contact or CRM contact?
So the answer is yes. So in a CRM contact, I can hover over, click dial, and it's going to pick up my Skype for Business, call the individual, now call their physical phone line or cell number. But correct, that is an out-of-the-box integration. The older version of CRM, you could actually select, am I using Link or am I using Skype? So it actually supports both.
Okay. Great, thank you. Here's another one. Can we link to existing file content template types in SharePoint?
So can you link to existing file content types in SharePoint? The answer is yes. I know we do it. So in our SharePoint, if I create a new, click on the new menu, I get a couple pre-existing templates to choose from. A new Word doc or a new, account overview Word doc. So the answer is yes. I don't know if that was an out-of-the-box or a SharePoint customization. But I know it can be done since we use it here and I've seen it being done before.
Great, thank you. Here's another one. We don't have internal resources to help us set up and train on SharePoint/OneNote/CRM integration in PowerBI. Do you have any suggestions? We are current PowerObjects/PowerSuccess customers.
Yep, great question. So we're beginning to launch a series of videos around the capabilities around of these integrations, around best practices. So if you check back in probably around 2, maybe 3 weeks, we'll have a ton more stuff available online.
Okay, let's see if there's any other questions here. For document attachments in CRM, can OneDrive be used solely without SharePoint?
It's a great question. So the answer is no. You do need SharePoint to use OneDrive. In fact, you have to enable the SharePoint server-side sync to then enable the OneDrive support.
All right, let's just see if anybody has any more questions. We'll give people just another couple of minutes to collect their thoughts. We'll just give everyone just a few more minutes. If you have any questions, once again, please feel free to type them into the Q&A box on the right-hand side of your screen, and Alex will be sure to get to it. someone's asking when the recording will be available. We'll send out a notification to all registrants and attendees probably within the next couple of days, I'd say by early next week. All right, it doesn't look like we have any more questions, so why don't we actually stop there. Alex, I'd like to thank you so much for your participation. I'd like to also thank everybody for taking the time out of their day to attend. Alex, any final thoughts before we sign off?
No, thank you very much. If you guys are, look at our website. We have a lot of blogs and a lot of webinars available for on-demand playing. Probably 20, 30 different webinars, and we're going to be adding more and more in the near future.
Great. Thank you, and thanks again, everyone.
Thanks a bunch. Bye-bye.